of band is this?
Everybody poops sometimes.
Give us the
Wake up, sweetness.
Your first time should be more than special.
I'm in, Savannah said. Good Lord, Gemma.
When a man and a woman, in this case, really, really love each other, what happens is they fuck.
Ooh, hello?
Oh, dang it, I lost my fish.
This next word almost sounds like Quidditch. Quidditch milade Diana Agosiagath an Fiedian.
As much as I love fucking you, sweetness. We stared into each other's eyes whilst I moaned in ecstasy. Having consumed half of the bourbon, I keep saying bourbon. You know, every time I mess up on a word, Stunt Mama just shows up.
She had her seductive smile on her lips.
I said we couldn't have sex. I didn't say anything about everything else. Ew. Happy to help. Biatch. You are the spark of light in the vastness of my night. His note, like a finality to a beautiful, breathtaking song.
Good evening. Oh no. Is it not working? Oh no, it is working. All right. Hi. I freaked out there for a second. Hi everybody. Star Mama's mama. Okay, hold on. Let me just hold on. First things first. Vincent, congratulations on claiming first place. Or wait, no, that was Gray. I'm so sorry. Gray, congrats on claiming first place. Vincent spoke first. Gray redeemed first place. Either way, you're both first in my book. And Roll's back. Hello, old pal. It's good to see you. I wasn't sure when you'd be back from all of your gallivanting, but either way, thank you for using your prime on me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And Mike Sunshine, welcome to the stream. And then Stunt Mama's mama coming in with 22 months. That's insane. It's good to see you, ma'am. Thank you for continuing to support and caring. And happy Sunday to you too. Hello, my lovely friend. Glad to see. Hold on. Vincent. Sorry, that was loud. And the Funky Fantasy Man's here. Our author, folks. The author of our book. You're still holding? Yes, you are. Vincent, five gifted subs. That is insane. We've got Metalcore, Orar. She's fun. Mandy Rebel, Lady Lurky, and Kazu Man. Or is it? No, Kizu Man. Kizu. Wow. We have 7 wheel spins to do, and we just got here. Okay. Let's flip over to the wheel. Okay. So this first one is for Roll because of your resub. So let's spin. Let's see what we're gonna get. Okay, so Roll, you get to pick between squats, push-ups, regular curls, or hammer curls. I wanted to give you one pronunciation for today in case I never give it to you. Zalran is Zalron. Okay, yeah, I think I was saying Zalron. but Zalron makes sense. We'll be attempting to come back to the Hype Mine this week, sending all the love, and I will pick hammer curls. Perfect. All right, so that's 5 on the hammer. Excellent. Now we're going to spin for Stop Mama's Mama. And that's 5 regular curls. Why are my numbers not updating? I swear. It did this to me last time. Oy. Why do you hate me? Why? I'm gonna have to go in and do it all myself. Can't trust bots these days. Oh, I think I know why. Haha. I know why. No, I don't want to do... Gosh darn it. What did I just do? Get curly with it? Almost a quarter of the way through book 2, or book 2 revision? That's amazing. I did the hammer thing wrong again. I think... Delete. All right, I think I know what I'm doing wrong. I need to go like this. Maybe. Hello? I swear I'm gonna punch my computer. Why? Why do you hate me? We're going to get to the other spins here, I swear. I just don't want to lose where I'm at. But why does this hate me so much? It did this to me last time we streamed. I fixed it, and then it was okay. But this time? No. Yeah, it should be a capital H, because that's what I set it up as. You know what I should do? I should just make them all caps, no matter what. Right? And then that way, there's no confusion. All right, let's try this again. Thank you for the hype train, guys. That was seriously amazing. Golden Kappa for 24 hours and a level 2. What is a Golden Kappa? Does anyone know what that is? Are you running it with Stream Elements? And wow, what was a Golden Kappa? I have no idea. And yes, I am trying to use Stream Elements, and it's annoying the poop out of me. This was not meant to be a working stream. But here we are. Oh, why? You get that emote for 24 hours? Ooh, nice. Okay. I like that. That's awesome. Uniformity, easy to remember. I know. Yeah. I hear you. But I can't even make it like it's not showing up on the screen. Like even if I adjust it manually, it's not doing it. Is something broken? Do I need to do that? Let's reset. And then Okay, I figured out the issue. Haha. I am smarter than a 5th grader. I'm going to make them all... Just bear with me. Sorry. This is pathetic. I'm going to make all of them first letter capitalized. And then that way, it's at least uniform in that sense. You following me? You picking up what I'm laying down? Okay, that one's already good. Don't have to do anything there. We just did push-ups. We got hammer. We got curls. We just need to edit squats. We're going to make that a capital. I have to update it in 3 places. That's part of the problem. And that's why I was getting confused, because holy buckets. Holy buckets. All right, so update it there and there. Save that. And then let's check the curls. We'll update it there. I mean, technically it's 2 places, but it's... Or 2 screens, but 3 different places, if that makes sense. We'll update the hammer. Save.
Yeah, hi. We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
I love that one. I can't hang out too long tonight. I've been running since dawn and just got back from the hospital, so I'm wiped out. Okay, yeah, I saw some of your updates on the socials, and it sounds horrendous, and I'm really sorry. It just absolutely sounds horrible, and I wish I could make it better. I really do. And Mitchell, I did see you were here. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. We think he's been having mini strokes, TIAs. I've had those, actually. I've had 3 of them. Curls, got it. Sure, hey, come on now. I'm trying to fix stuff because I'm a terrible streamer. All right, now we can spin 5 more times for Vincent, who kindly dropped 5 subs. Thank you again. We should be good now. Here's hoping. So let's spin the wheel. Push-ups. Hey, it worked. All right, 4 more. More regular curls. Oops. Did I do that right? Yes, I did. Perfect. Okay, here's spin number 3 for Vincent. More hammers. Excellent. Really pushing me to the max here, buddy. Streamer picks, fantastic. Well, we don't have any squats yet, so I might as well do that. Oh wait, it's just squat for the command, I think. Wait, did I mess up squats? Gosh darn it. I messed up squats. How did we mess up squats? Yep, sure did. Save. Let's try it again. There we go. Squats. Criminy. All right, last one. You're going to get a big workout tonight? Seriously. Streamer picks again. Oh gosh, we might as well do squats again since I just fixed it. Perfect. So 10 squats, 10 curls, 10 hammer curls, and 5 push-ups. Holy cow. That was an ordeal. Thank you for sticking with me on that. Here's a fantastical puzzle for tonight, by the way. It's another castle. Or at least it looks like a castle. But it's very nature-esque as well. And a partridge in a pear tree, seriously. Mama House Gaming. Hello. How are you, my dear? Before I do any workouts, we need to at least read something. So let's get a chapter in. Right? And then we'll do some workouts. Okay. It's Sunday evening. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. For those of you that like to celebrate the 4th, I hope you had a wonderful holiday celebration. It's time to relax. It's time to chill, read a story, get lost in a book, and we'll see how it goes. Since I just woke up, I thought it was streamer picks, and I really had to pull my mind out of the gutter. I was wondering who the person was getting those pics.
Spicy.
All right. Tonight we are on chapter 7 of our book. It's called A Wizard and His Plan. Before the chapter starts, it says, "Sometimes the only way to defeat darkness is with darkness. This is something I know to be true. However, I feel I might be losing faith in my own beliefs the longer I live. Perhaps I had it all wrong, or perhaps I had it wrong all along. Maybe the only way to defeat darkness is by staying in the light." We had a rainy 4th, but it cleared off in time to go to the fireworks. Well, that's good. We didn't have to go to fireworks because our neighbors did them all. Until 3 o'clock in the morning. I do not celebrate it. I detest fireworks. Yeah, I'm getting over them myself. I'm not quite at the detest level, but I'm certainly, I'd be okay without them. Oh, before I start reading, quick announcement. We are very close to yawning. No, we are very close to 750 followers, which for a reading streamer is just, I'm blown away. I haven't done any kind of milestone celebrations up to this point. However, once we reach 750, I will be doing a capped up to 8-hour kind of stream. I wish I could do more. And maybe on other milestones I will, but for now, at least on the 8-hour mark, that's what I can commit to. So, once we get to 750, I'll put it on the calendar and announce it as time goes on. We'll be reading, we'll be playing some games, we'll be doing some community games as well, and no matter what, it'll be a typical 2-hour time frame, but then new followers, raids, bits, subs, all of that add to the counter, which I have set up, which hopefully works, because good lord. And then it'll be capped at 8 hours. So that's the plan, just to let you know. I had to work on the 4th. Boo. Boo. My puppies hated the fireworks anyway, so I'm glad I stayed home. Yes. I'm glad you stayed home too. All right. Enough jabbering on from me. Ladies and gentlemen, Kingdom Society, Chapter 7. "You used dark magic?" Meridian Zane shouted, tossing a wine glass at the wall. Zylok sighed as he tried explaining his story. I've got PTSD from the military, so fireworks are a love-hate relationship. Yeah, they would be. Yes, they would be. No, my lady. I used a forbidden technique. It's normal magic. It just requires a lot of knowledge, will, and power to do it correctly without becoming seriously hurt. Zylok threw his hands up in frustration. I had to protect the children. I won't apologize for that. Merrick walked up and put his arm around Meridian. Ooh. You have to excuse me, it's been a long day. I'm going into lurk mode, but I'm here. No worries, thank you. You're being too hard on him, my love. Meridian turned and kissed her husband on the cheek. I'm sorry, Merrick, but I can't be okay with him using such techniques in front of the children. Zylok crossed his arms. Let me explain the difference to you both. My goodness. Dark magic, while considered bad, is only seen that way because of what it's done to people in the past. It corrupts the mind, cuts your lifespan down, and usually makes someone go down a dark path. However, seeing as I'm the only one who understands what it really is, I'll explain how it works. We, as magic users, get our power from the earth and store it in our bodies. However strong the mind, body, and soul are, determine how much magical energy we can use before we run out and have to recharge. Dark magic breaks the rules. You simply create spells out of thin air, taking directly from the earth instead of your body. In most cases, you'd think that the most logical way to create spells and use attacks. But because of its nature, people don't. A forbidden technique still draws from our bodies, therefore making it normal magic. Zylok paused and took a deep breath. As far as I remember, both of you... I am so sorry about the yawns. Both of you have used forbidden techniques before, and I've never seen either of you get scolded. So why the harsh treatment? Merrick ran a hand through his hair. He's got us there. We've used plenty of forbidden techniques throughout our years, so we can't be too hard on the old man. Meridian's face softened. She walked toward the balcony, her sun-blonde hair trailing against the ground. She slowly turned, so only part of her face was visible. What would you have us do, then? She asked Zylok. A grin broke out across the old wizard's face. Let me train the children. You've got enough to deal with watching over Targus and making sure everyone else is ready for when our enemy returns. Let me make sure Lyeth and Sindral can at least protect themselves. Meridian's face hardened once again. No, I will not have you training the children. They are too young and are not ready. Zylok's tone of voice sharpened. Is that what you told Solomon too? Suddenly, Meridian whipped her head around, and a flash of magenta crossed her eyes before she aimed her finger at the wizard and sent him flying against the wall with a layer of ice. She stalked toward him, with fiery eyes. Her finger still pointed at him. How dare you mention his name? You have no right. Zylok looked down at the ice wall holding him. He didn't struggle, but he did continue his argument. You refused to let him train with me, and he ended up dying because of it. He might have been your son, but I loved him as my own. I don't want Lyeth and Sindral to end up like him. That's all I'm saying. Meridian dropped her head in sorrow. When she looked up, her eyes glistened with tears, and her voice became soft. It scares me They shouldn't have to train this young. That's no life for a child. I don't disagree, Zylock said, twisting his neck in a circle to relieve pressure. Just trust me, Meridian, as your father and his father before once did. Meridian showed a small smile, something she hadn't worn since the conversation started. She walked up to Zylock and waved her hand over the glistening ice, causing it to turn into particles of light before disappearing. If I agree to this, you have to agree to my terms. You only teach them things their bodies can handle. You'll check in with me every day and update me on what you did. And most importantly, you make sure they make it to their history classes on time. Only 4 hours a day of training and... Out of nowhere, Merrick boomed with laughter. I think he gets it, Mary. The tall, muscular sorcerer turned his gaze to Zylock. I want to make one thing clear, though. Merrick's normal stoic voice turned sharp. If I ever catch you performing any questionable spells around the children, we'll have a problem. Are we clear? Zylock narrowed his eyes. I understand. However, I want you to listen to my next words closely. Be wise about how you speak to those who are your allies. If you knew some of the things I knew, you might be a bit more open-minded. Just remember, I'm on your side, and I love you all dearly. Rexter, what's up, man? How are you? Merrick's expression softened. Gosh, with the yawns again. His lips moved slightly as though he might speak. Instead, he ended up smiling and patting the old wizard on the shoulder. I suppose you're right. You'll have to forgive us, old man. We're a bit overprotective of our children. If you're clear on how things will run, you may start tomorrow. Zylock nodded before patting down his shirt. After moving forward a few steps, he felt a sharp crack in his side. Hot pain ran up to his neck, causing him to drop to one knee. He'd been so focused on the conversation, he'd ignored the pain. It was something he learned over the years, but he couldn't ignore it any longer. Meridian seemed to forget their current conversation and immediately got on her knees next to the old man, her mothering and healing nature taking over. Look at yourself. You've done it again. Or you've overdone it again. Excuse me. She placed her hands on Zylock. After a silent moment, a pink light glowed within his body, showing his entire skeletal structure. Meridian's eyes glowed with magenta light as energy left her body and went into the old man. Zylock bit down on his tongue, drawing blood. Zylock had a high tolerance for pain, but not this high. Small, muffled screams escaped him as he flinched and cursed. The powerful queen kept her hand still before they went into the wizard's skin, causing a true scream to leave him. I'm sorry, Zylock. I'm almost done. Try to stay still. Zylock clenched his fists until his fingernails penetrated flesh. He'd forgotten how painful it was to have his queen repair broken bones. Perhaps he went overboard with his last spell. That would be something he might consider for next time. Who was he kidding? He'd never change his ways, even if he broke every bone in his body. It was worth it to keep his family safe. Well and kicking, my dog. Terrible. And Lulu is here. Hi, Lulu. How are you? Good, how are you? I am doing great. I'm a little tired. It's been a busy day. Very busy day. But I'm good. Thank you. It's good to see you. Meridian's hands now burned brighter and were visible within the man's body. She grabbed the two segments of broken rib bone and pressed them together before freezing them. Once completed, she phased her hands out of Zylok and her energy powered down. The wizard sat up and blinked his eyes slowly. He looked at the woman who'd mended him and spotted a small raspberry chocolate candy in her hand. "Eat this," she commanded. Zylok thought about arguing for a moment, but eventually mumbled, popping the candy into his mouth. The healing chocolate slowly melted against his tongue. Within a few moments, he felt vitalized and refreshed. I, too, would like some of this chocolate. Pretty much on a daily basis. He rolled his neck in a circle until feeling a relieving pop. "Thank you, Meridian. I appreciate you always taking care of me." Meridian nodded before moving toward the door. Merrick went forward and opened them, giving Zylok a cheerful thumbs up. "Now, why don't you get your rest? Or go rest, excuse me. You shouldn't be moving around for the rest of the day. I'll make sure the children are outside in the training area bright and early." Merrick put his hand on the old man's shoulder and brought him in for a hug, then whispered so Meridian couldn't overhear. "I want you to train the children with whatever spells you think will allow them to be strong." The stoic sorcerer then stepped back and winked. Zylok nodded and departed from his chambers. Well then, not the end of the chapter, but it is a quick break in the story as time is moving on, which means I get to take a sip of my tea. It's delicious, by the way. Absolutely wonderful. If you ever need me to make a cup of tea for you, just get me a plane ticket or whatever. Come pick me up in your car, and I'll take care of it. Later in the evening, Eliath raced through the halls of the castle as fast as his feet would carry him. He still couldn't believe they'd been attacked in Vasilius. "Good night, Kay. It was good to see you. Get some rest, please. Take care of yourself." The small bits of the fight he'd seen blew his mind. He had 1,000 questions he wanted to ask the old wizard, but he knew he'd have to wait for a while. So he headed for the training area. As he moved through the torch-lit halls, he stopped at each of the paintings and admired them. History was among Eliath's favorite things. Every time he walked the halls, he stopped at a different picture. This time, he stopped at the painting of his grandfather, Jaren Zane. Eliath scoffed. "I wish Mother and Father would tell me more about our past. What are they so scared of?" As he moved away from the paintings, he forgot to watch where he was going, as usual, and ran into a wall of muscle. He stepped back and craned his head. Standing before him was a behemoth of a man. Rippling, bulging muscles lined his body, and on his hands were 2 pairs of silver knuckle knockers. The man wore his normal royal blue garments, fastened by a large bronze-colored belt. Eliath smiled as soon as he realized who it was. "Hello, George. How are you?" "I'm doing wonderful," George said. An enormous smile spread across his face. What brings you to these parts of the castle at such a late hour, hmm? Eliath tried to think of a lie he could tell. Anything to make the giant man go away and leave him to his sneaky business. I was going to bed. He nodded in satisfaction at his own deception. George narrowed his eyes and smashed his knuckles against one another, causing blue sparks to shoot out. Bed, huh? Is that where you were going? I think you were trying to sneak your way out of the castle and do something devious. Weren't you? Eliath persisted harder. No, I would never do that. I'm an obedient child. George chuckled. Well, I won't stand in the way of you having fun. I remember what it was like to be your age. Don't worry. I won't tell your parents. Tell his parents what? George's eyes widened as he slowly turned around to find Meridian. Oh, hello, my queen. I was only visiting with young Eliath here. Just having a good time. Nothing going on here. Meridian smiled. It's quite all right, sir. I know you are covering for my son. I always know what he's trying to pull. You can continue with your patrol. I've got it from here. Very well, my lady. George looked at Eliath once more and gave him a thumbs up. I'll see you around. Eliath hung his head, prepared for her lecture. He looked up at his mother. Am I in trouble? Meridian shook her head. No, you're not in trouble. However, after I put you to bed, if I find you sneaking around, well. A small bit of frost escaped her mouth with her last words. And then I'll turn you into an ice sculpture, and there you shall stay until you learn your lesson. Eliath backed away jokingly. No, don't turn me into ice. I'll behave myself, please. Not the ice. I'll do anything. Meridian giggled and ruffled his hair. Come on. I'll read you a story before bed. You've got a long day tomorrow with training and class. Wait, I get to train? What made you change your mind? Meridian sighed and looked down the hallway, guiding them toward Eliath's room. Well, my little ally, I guess I realized there's no protecting you forever. I decided to move past my own fears. But that doesn't mean you get to go crazy and get yourself hurt. You understand? Eliath pouted, looking at his mother with annoyance. I hate it when you call me ally. Meridian opened the door to his room and gestured toward the bed. One day, you'll have a son or daughter of your own, and you'll have a nickname for them. They may not like it, but we'll know it comes from a place of love. Now lay down, and I'll tell you a story. Eliath nodded, jumped into bed, pulled his covers to his chin. He watched as his mother sat down on a small stump of wood next to him. He gazed into her icy blue eyes and felt at peace. It didn't matter how sad he was. His mother's eyes and smile put him at peace. He rested his head on his hand and waited. Do you want to hear a true story or a fairy tale, love? Meridian grabbed a book from the floor and opened it up. Eliath chanted, True story, true story. He felt as though she should have known what he wanted to hear. He hated made-up stories because they were boring. Hearing about the events from history was something he enjoyed. Even if it was bloody, he didn't care. Meridian chuckled and set the storybook down. I figured you would say that. All right then. This is a story from my childhood. A long time ago, here in our here in our very kingdom of Targus, There was a white knight who was loyal to all the kings and queens of the land and fought bravely in many battles. He protected children like you and many others, including me, when I was a little girl. One day, after hundreds of victories, he faced the task of executing a boy just a bit older than you are now. The king claimed this boy had stolen from the castle, and his punishment was death. When the knight refused this order from on high, the king banished him from Targus. Completely broken and with all hope lost, the knight sought refuge in a small village leagues away with a vast array of hills, mountains, and lakes. There were tales in the town about a diamond that held so much magical power, many men and women would go to where it was hidden to take the power, to grow their gardens or to heal their sick children. When the knight heard of this magical diamond rock, he decided he must see it for himself. So, with that, he was off on his journey to the lost cave where the villagers said it would be found. When the knight came to the cave, he heard voices whispering to him, saying things like, "Here, no, over here, come to me, and take what you are seeking." As the knight approached the diamond rock that glowed with a blue haze of power, his eyes were lost for what seemed like a year's time, until finally, the rock shot a beam of energy into the night. With not a moment of time lost, his eyes lit up with blue fire, and his entire body transformed. From head to toe, he was covered in sleek black and gray armor that was so transparent it almost looked like a shadow. If it weren't for his eyes lighting up the dark cave, no one would have ever known he was there. For years, no one saw the knight, until one day in Targus. The king and queen had all the sorcerers and council members together for a festival. Before anyone could react, the evil knight showed up behind the king and snapped his neck. The knight threw the dead king onto the table and stated for everyone to hear, "From this day on, there will be no more kings and queens, no more sorcerers or knights. This will be a kingdom ruled by only darkness and shadows." The knight then created 2 long blades out of thin air and slaughtered everyone at the festival. I could hear the shrieks coming from my bedroom chamber, and the sound was horrifying. If it weren't for my father intervening, the entire kingdom would have been lost. My father fought with everything he had, almost losing his life in the process. But in the end, he was too much for the evil knight to contest with. My father channeled all his energy together to create a shadow dimension, and he sealed the Shadow Knight away. No one ever saw him again. The end. Did you like that one, Ally? Meridian asked, closing the book and putting it down. Eliath seemed to almost roll his eyes at his mother's question, as if he should have already known what his response would be. That story was blazing great. Grandfather must have been really strong. Meridian nodded. He was. I wish you could have met him. Why don't you ever talk about him? Eliath asked, sitting up a bit to be eye level with his mother. Meridian put a hand on his cheek and tilted her head. Because it's painful for me. But I tell you what, if you do well with your exams this year, I'll sit down and tell you about your grandfather. Deal? Oh, deal. Eliath leaned forward and kissed her on the cheek. Now, get some rest. Leaning down, she blew out her son's candle and walked toward the door. Before leaving, she said, Remember, Eliath, I'm with you always, and I'll always love you. As Meridian wandered down the hall toward her chamber, thoughts of Arion came to her. Father, if you're out there, give me strength. I know some of the things I'll be faced with doing soon, and her thoughts trailed away from her as she felt a cold chill run down her spine. She knew Zylok was right about teaching her children how to fight. She could sense a darkness in the air. Something was coming, but she didn't know when. And that concludes chapter 7. Something is coming. Cover your butts. Oh boy. And then there's also the I can feel it calling in the air tonight. I'm sure there's other songs out there that we could use, but those are the two that come to mind. I just hate it when people interrupt my reading and I too sigh when I put the book down. Oh, Mama House Gaming. Wish I could give you a big hug someday. Let's do some shout-outs, shall we? We've got some streamers in here that I want to highlight. There's a lot of streamers, actually. First up, Mama House Gaming. I know quite a few Mama people on Twitch. And it's kind of awesome. I feel like I've got this little collection of mamas. That sounded wrong. Anyway, it's true. And then we've got Eternal Grey, part of our Hype Mind community, a gem to be around. Just a lovely, sweet young lady. Yeah, I feel obsolete with all the moms out there. Shake my head. Shake my head. Another Hype Mind person. We have a lot of Hype Mind people in here. Farcliffs. Of course, we have Roll coming back to the streaming scene very soon. Watch this space. We've got Phony, who plays a lot of Fortnite. Probably a little too much Fortnite, if you ask me. Just kidding. It's fine. We got Sweet Lulu. She is very sweet. It's true. Plays a variety of games, actually. Last seen playing Fortnite, but before that, I think it was the grocery store simulator. And there's a lot more. I'm just the mama of a streamer. That's right. Stunt Mama's mama. Did I mention this tea's good? Because it is. Okay. I said I would do some of these redeems. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. We got squats, push-ups, hammer curls, regular curls. So let's do them. Why is my hotkey not working? Why is everything breaking? Why? Tell me why. apply. There we go. All right, I got it. I guess we'll do squats, curls, and then push-ups. We did it. Whew. Nailed it. Now I just gotta reset. Reset. I will. Once Human full release on Tuesday. Remind me what that is? Oh, it's the survival game. That's right. Yes, I will drink water after that one. Thank you for that, Redeem. Once Human, that's right. Oh, it's coming out on mobile devices too. Huh, how about that? I will keep that tab open so I can check it out later, because I've completely forgot pretty much everything about that game. But that doesn't mean I can't check it out and remember. All right. We've got an ad running. Once the ad is finished, we will continue our story. Chapter 8, by the way, is Corey the Raven. The Raven. Should be exciting. Mitchell is chiseling away at this puzzle, just breaking boundaries. All right, a little under a minute now. and then we can crack on. Thank you again for the subs and gifted subs. That was a good workout. I'm feeling buff. Or weak, depending on how you look at it. Ad break is over. Okay, it still said I had like 20 seconds, but Twitch is always lying. Can't trust it. Ever. Ever. All right. Before the chapter begins, towards the top of the page, we have this text. I've discovered a new way. It is now clear to me that the fate of Taronia lies within the hands of 30 people and not one. Clearly, I underestimated the strength and fortitude of humanity. Dun dun dun. All right. Chapter 8, here we go. Elias slammed the door to his room shut and sprinted down the hallway. For once, he was sure he'd gotten up before his sister. He was so excited to train with Zylok that he'd forgotten to eat breakfast or even take a proper bath. Yeah, stinky. He was sure he'd be lectured about that later, but he didn't care. As he passed his sister's room, he pounded on the door. Come on, Sindral. It's time for our first day of training. Footsteps sounded before the door slowly opened. Sindral's eyes drooped a bit. A small yawn escaped her. She scratched her head. Already that time? Yeah, it is. Eliath moved up and down on his heels, leaving his sister in the dust. He raced towards Zylok's chambers. He knew he was supposed to wait for his father to take him down to the arena, but he preferred to always see the old man in his chambers for a morning greeting. He stopped in front of the wizard's room and immediately saw a flash of red light come from under the door. Then he heard a voice yelling, Watch what you're doing, you old fool. Oh, oops. Sorry about that. Eliath gathered that the old man was talking to someone. As he was going to continue walking, the door opened, and Zylok stood before him. The man's beard was singed, and his silver eyes had a hint of purple around the pupils. Good morning, lad, Zylok said, ruffling the boy's hair. Where's your sister? I'm here, Sindral said, glaring at her brother in between breaths. Eliath left me in the dust again. Zylok guided the children inside his chamber and shut the door behind them. As Eliath looked at the old wizard's face, he tried once again to figure out how old he was. It had always been something that interested him, but he never asked because he knew it was rude. Zylok's face only had a few wrinkles, and he didn't look much older than someone in their early 50s. However, his eyes looked like deep pools of memories. They looked like the eyes who'd seen much more than the average man. Zylok took a seat at the large mahogany desk and put his hair into a tight ponytail. A moment later, a sleek black raven and purple eyes flew down from the windowsill and stared at the children. The bird tilted its head and blinked its eyes a few times before opening its beak. Hello, Eliath, Sindral. How are you both doing? Eliath walked up to Corey and smiled. It always amazed him that Zylok had a talking raven. I'm good. And how are you? Corey flew into the air and landed on Zylok's shoulder. Then he jammed his beak against the old man's head. I was doing fine until this old cook blasted me halfway across the room with his stupid spell. Zylok boomed with laughter and rubbed Corey's belly. I said I was sorry, didn't I? No need to get your feathers in a bunch. Corey flew into the air again and glowed with silver light. It was so bright Eliath had to cover his eyes. and when he opened them, a large brute of a man stood before him. He had long strands of black hair with a bushy black beard and purple eyes. Eliath blinked a couple times, trying to make sure he wasn't in a dream. Then the mystery man went over and picked up Xylock by his garments and tossed him across the room. The old man crashed into a pile of books. Aw, thank you for the screen celebration, Rexter. I managed to catch it on the other half of my you know what I mean. The other half of the screen. There. Now we're even, the man said. Eliath gasped with astonishment. Wait, Corey, is that you? I didn't know you could turn into a human. Corey nodded with a smile. Yes, I can turn myself into any creature that walks this earth. That includes people. You really didn't know? Eliath shook his head. He decided this would be the perfect time to ask Xylock how Corey came to be. He looked over at the wizard, who had finally picked himself up off the floor. Hey, old man, how can Corey do that? Xylock came over and slapped his companion on the back. You see, a long time ago, before I came to Targus, I was attempting something dangerous. Regrettably, I did it despite knowing I shouldn't have. I had infused dark magic into the spell, and I ended up with Corey. I never knew he'd be able to transform himself into different things, let alone talk. Corey has been my companion for a long time. Sindril raised her hand politely. So you haven't always been in Targus? No, my dear. I came from Sandor. Perhaps someday I'll take you there. Xylock grabbed a pipe and took a few puffs, blowing clouds into the air. Eliath began pacing around. Corey the dog? There's a bird. Or he was. Now he's a man. But I guess he could be a dog. Because he can turn into anything. So yes, Corey the dog. Funny because Corey is the name of my dog. Oh, no kidding. That's funny. Corey, come here. Well, old bat, I want to start training. Sindril and I should probably go meet my father in the arena. Xylock nodded and set his pipe down. I suppose you're right. You two scurry along. I'll be down there soon. Eliath grabbed his sister by the arm and dashed out of the old man's room. It only took a few minutes to make it to the training arena. Merrick was waiting for them with a smile. Are you both ready for your first day of training? Eliath jumped up and down while Sindril stood with a calm presence. Yet her fists were clenched with excitement. A few moments later, Xylock came strolling out to the arena with Corey perched on his shoulder. Upon arrival, he pointed to the other end of the training grounds. I want both of you to start with a good stretch. Go out to the statue of Kai and return. Eliath looked at Sindril with fire in his eyes. Ready to eat my dust? Sindril shook a lock of hair out of her eye and grinned. Yeah, right. Today, I'm going to win. They both took off in a mad dash, reddish gold dirt flying upward. Xylock waved his hands to get rid of the small clouds of debris, and then looked at Merrick. You can relax, friend. They're in good hands. I promise they will get the best training, and I'll make sure they become strong. Merrick shook his head, keeping his eyes fixated on the children the whole time. It's not that. I want you to train them fully, just like I mentioned the other day. I'm just worried that Eliath will try forcing you to teach him something he's not ready for. I want you to push them, but not too hard. Plus, Meridian would kill me if she found out I was going behind her back. Yeah, probably with ice, it sounds like. That's her thing. Zylok bumbled with laughter as he slapped Merrick on the back. My dear boy, just the other day when you were in Vasilius, Eliath opened a sealed artifact. You'd be surprised at how far your children have already come. Know this, and let it bring you peace. Merrick's gaze immediately left the children and went to Zylok. Good Lord, are you serious? He cracked a seal. Are you sure? Zylok nodded confidently. Absolutely. I put the enchantment on it myself. I never thought he'd actually get it open so quickly. He did it in a few minutes. Merrick seemed pleased as he bowed his head gratefully. Well, I'm glad that they will be with you. As the children were nearing, Zylok thought back on a conversation with Sindral about Merrick and Meridian, never showing them anything cool. The old wizard cleared his throat and tapped Merrick on the shoulder. It was made known to me recently that you never showed your kids anything cool with magic. I promised myself I'd get you to show them something. So, can you help an old man out? Merrick nodded. As soon as the children returned, he held out his hands. Glowing balls of crackling blue electricity swam around, with trickles of flames dancing around counterclockwise. Eliath and Sindral's eyes opened wide as they watched in awe of their father. Merrick smiled as he moved back a few paces. I realize your mother and I haven't shown you anything cool of late, so I'm going to show you something now. However,
I'm lurking now.
Thank you for the lurk, Gray. Don't go getting any wise ideas about trying anything like this, or asking Zylok to show you. It isn't something your bodies can handle. Eliath opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He didn't want to ruin the moment. For so long, he'd wanted to see his father perform some amazing feat of magic, and he was finally getting his chance. He watched with burning curiosity as the power in Merrick's hands formed into two distinct shapes. To Eliath, they looked like miniature lion heads, with the fangs burning bright blue and trickles of red and purple fire circling in the eyes. Merrick raised the two energy beasts and smiled. This is a technique called the Lion Fist. It's something my father taught me a long time ago. Merrick raised his voice as he continued. This is something I normally reserve for a fight, but since you kids wanted to see something cool, here you go. He clenched his fists, and the energy lions grew in size to that of two small boulders. Then he aimed at a towering oak hundreds of yards away. A moment later, twin beams of hot lightning shot forth. The ground cracked beneath Merrick's feet from the force of the attack, and a continuing shockwave of wind caused Eliath, Sindral, and Zylok to steady themselves. Eliath forced his eyes to remain open. He wanted to see the end result of such tremendous power. He was so focused on the continuous streams of lightning, he didn't realize his own hands had started forming two small energy outlines of lion heads. Zylok looked over and noticed it, so he tapped Merrick on the shoulder. And a moment later, everything was still. Eliath clapped excitedly. Tiny sparks of light leaped off his fingers, but not enough for him to notice. He looked at his father with a wide grin and jumped up and down, barely able to contain his excitement. Father, that was amazing! He looked across the field to where the large oak had once stood. It now was nothing more than a black pile of smoking ash. Will I ever be able to do that? Zylok and Merrick exchanged a concerned glance. They whispered some words to each other that Eliath couldn't hear. Had he done something wrong? Or was he simply overthinking things? A moment later, his father came up to him and got down on one knee. Someday, my son, I will teach you how to do it. For now, I want you to focus on learning as much as you can from Zylok. Can you do that for me? Eliath nodded, giving his father a hug. Drifting aromas of pine and mint wafted into his nose, and made him feel at peace. The rock-hard muscles of his father's body would seem uncomfortable to most, but to Eliath it was the safest and most comfortable place in the world. He backed up from Merrick and wrinkled his nose up before smiling. I will make you proud, father. I promise. Merrick ruffled Eliath's hair and then motioned Sindral over. My daughter. Excuse me. My daughter, I want you to keep an eye on your brother and make sure he doesn't try anything foolish. Also, I want you to have fun while you learn. I know combat magic isn't your forte, and you prefer to learn about herbs and ointments and healing spells, but I promise these skills will come in handy for you someday. Sindral nodded and hugged her father. I won't let you down. Oh no, did I just lose my page? Oh, nope, we're good. I found it. I won't let you down. I'll be stronger than Mother when this is all over. Merrick went back to Zylok and talked in a hushed tone. Be careful with them. Don't let them overexert themselves. Zylok nodded and placed his hands on Merrick's shoulder. You have nothing to worry about, dear friend. If anything, I'd be more concerned about the fact your son could nearly mimic your lion's fist without understanding how it works. Merrick hesitated for a moment, biting his upper lip. You don't think it could be his birth month, do you? Zylok rubbed Corey's belly and cleared his throat. Eliath was born in Snowdrift, so that makes his sign the Disciple. There's nothing leading me to believe that would have anything to do with it. Perhaps only time will tell. Merrick sighed. I suppose you're right. With a smile, he walked away, throwing his hand up in a wave. I'll see you all later. Have fun. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. Doo-dah, doo-dah. I don't know why I sang it. Eliath waved back to his father and waited eagerly for Zylok to begin. The old man was whispering something to Corey, but he couldn't make it out. A moment later, a flash of silvery white light shone, and Corey was in his human form. Eliath stood next to his sister and steeled himself. He couldn't take the anticipation anymore. What will we be learning today? The old man came forward with his companion and clasped his hands together. Today, young ones, you will learn how to use a defensive barrier. Zylok took his pointer finger and middle finger from each hand and touched them to one another, or to each other. A small amount of energy enveloped the old man. Eliath had trouble seeing the full barrier as it appeared nearly invisible. Walking forward, he went up to his teacher and jabbed a finger forward. He was met with a strong resistance and wasn't able to touch his mentor. Eyes opening wide, Eliath slammed his fists together and stepped back. Teach me how to do it. I'm ready. Zylok disengaged his barrier and smiled. Very well then. You will work with me, Eliath, and Corey, you'll work with Sindral. A few minutes passed and everyone was finally in training positions. Eliath bowed respectfully to his teacher before drowning out all the noises around him and listening intently to Zylok. Can you teach my child how to do that? All right, lad. To perform a proper body barrier, the first step is to center all your magic into your heart. Your heart supplies blood to your body, right? Well, think of it as your magic supplier too. We are in tune with nature, as that's where we receive our power. Do you understand so far? Eliath shook his head. I understand a little, but I still feel lost. Zylok smiled and brushed off his garments. Not to worry. I'll start by explaining it differently. Do you know what your birth sign is? Eliath clenched his fists and smiled. This is the one thing he definitely knew. I was born in Snowdrift, so that makes my sign Disciple. Smugly, he put his hands on his hips. He took pride in his extensive studies for his age. Most kids who were older than him didn't know half as much as he did. Sure, his mother and father were part of the reason, but it was simply because he loved to learn. Zylok nodded approvingly. Very good. Yes, your sign is Disciple. We were given our signs at birth as a gift from the gods. It is what determines our path in life. However, our path does not change the way we receive magic. It only determines what our strengths are. You are good at learning things. I think you'll learn better hands-on, though. Come over to me. The old man motioned with his hand toward himself. Eliath cheerfully jogged over. He was so determined to learn that he was sure nothing could stop him. He followed Zylok's example and got on his knees, placing his hands on the cold ground. Step by step, he followed the old man, starting by taking a deep breath and listening to his heartbeat. The longer he remained silent, the more he could feel the pulsing waves of energy beneath him, begging to be absorbed. This was the first time he'd ever truly felt the magic of the world connect with him. It was almost like he'd unlocked a hidden secret that had been dormant for so long. Now, do you understand how the transfer of power works? Zylok asked. If you can learn to master this first step, then you'll be able to conjure spells much quicker. The process of calling magic into your body and distributing it throughout yourself usually takes the most amount of time for us magic wielders. So I want you to do this as your warm-up every time we train. Eliath nodded. When he looked back at his hand, he realized it was glowing bright with jade light. He smiled, feeling proud of himself for being able to handle the task. He returned his attention to the old man and asked, What do I do now? Call the magic into your body. Don't be afraid of it. Zylok said, pointing at his heart. Become one with nature and allow it to flow through you freely. When you feel a slight tingle in your chest, that is your body telling you that you're full. Go ahead and try. Mr. Rhino. What's up, sir? How are you? We are just reading our book. Doing good, buddy. Long day in the sun, but relaxing now. I, too, had a long day. I don't remember what I did this morning. Oh, no, we had to go to Costco to spend money on food. And then shortly after I got home, I went over to a friend's house. She bought a new sink and then needed help getting the old sink out and the new sink in. So I spent quite a few hours working on that, only to then realize that the sink she purchased unfortunately wasn't quite going to fit. The measurements were a little bit off. So the old sink and faucet had to go back in. Whew. So that was a bummer. But hey, I'm just that much more efficient at replacing sinks and garbage disposals and stuff like that. It's a process, but I did it. Hands on, you know what I'm saying? Let's see. Then I came home, took a shower, ate dinner, got ready to stream, and then here we are. Yeah. That's about it. Pretty much. That was my day. Sounds like your day was a bit more enjoyable. Not that I didn't enjoy what I was doing, but even more so. Oh, let's see. Yeah, my measurements were off as well. A measure of red pepper flake is totally different than a measurement of red chili powder. Mouth on fire. Oh man, Vincent, I wish I could have seen that in real life. That would have been amazing. Oh man, that would have been good. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this before. I don't know if you can tell with the green screen and stuff, but I dyed my hair a little bit. It's true. I've still got like the salt and pepper on the sides and the back. It's hard to tell. But then on top I added a little bit of brown. It's supposed to be a ashen brown, but it feels like it's a little bit darker than what the box said it would be. But I like it. I don't have a problem with it. Did you get your chocolate cake at Costco? You mean my tuxedo cake? Yes. So yeah, it'll last like a month, maybe 6 weeks. But I just wanted to give it a shot, see how I liked it. And so far, so good. All right. We're on page 106, and I should have done this. I should have done this sooner, but I completely forgot. Please feel free to click that link, check out our author, go see his books. Come check out my wares. I know he'd appreciate you taking a stroll and supporting if you want to. All right, where were we? Page 106. Oh yeah, what do I do now? Got it. Call the magic into your body. Don't be afraid of it. Zylok said, pointing at his heart. Become one with nature and allow it to flow through you freely. When you feel a slight tingle in your chest, that is your body telling you that you're full. Go ahead and try. Eliath closed his eyes and let his mind go blank. A slight vibration trickled up his arm, but it didn't feel uncomfortable. In fact, he rather enjoyed the feeling. It was a type of euphoria he'd never experienced before. He could feel every hair on his body slowly rise and his pulse quicken. Every moment that passed, he felt as though he could sense another element of nature. He could feel the trees sway, and he could taste water droplets in the air. The sunlight felt new on his body, as though it gave him new life. At that moment, he felt a small tingle in his chest, and then he stood. When he opened his eyes, he found snaking lines of jade energy on his arms, and it was then he realized it was actually his veins glowing. Zylok clapped enthusiastically, and his words poured out quicker than usual. Well done. That was simply a job well done. If you keep going at this rate, you'll be able to fill your body in seconds. I'm very proud of you. Zylok walked a few paces over and stopped next to a large boulder. He held his hand against the stone and loosed lines of purple lightning, cracking into it multiple fragments of even size. Cracking it into multiple, I can read. It's fine. He touched boulder, boulder broke. That's what I'm trying to say. Eliath watched intently. He wasn't sure what the old man was planning, but he was excited. Out of nowhere, the stone pieces began flying into each other until 3 rock golems had formed. Each one had a club, and their eyes glowed purple. Eliath swallowed hard. Newfiggle slips into the room and sits against the wall, listening to the reading, sipping my mocha and nibbling on my popcorn quietly. I hate to break it to you, Newfiggle, but there is nothing quiet about popcorn. But I appreciate the enthusiasm. What in the blazes are those for, old man? Zylok chuckled, pointing towards his creations. Well, for training, of course. Don't worry, lad. I can control their strength and speed. I would never let you get hurt, so you need not worry. Now, I want you to focus on your energy and create a body barrier. Don't worry about getting it perfect on the first go. We have plenty of time for practice. Now do as I do. You can put it in your mouth, letting it dissolve some. You can put a little piece into your mouth, letting it slowly dissolve as you savor every little flavor. Something like that. Something like that. Focusing on his energy, Eliath mimicked the old man, putting his hands in front of his chest. Then, he pulled 3 fingers into the palm of each hand, leaving the thumb and pinky sticking straight out. Following that, he touched his knuckles together and flipped one of his hands upside down and said the word barrier. And a moment after that, he could see tiny specks of light dancing in front of his eyes. The energy was so clear that it was almost invisible. He checked the rest of his body and saw the same light specks dancing around in different spots. I can't believe I got it on the first try, he thought excitedly. He refocused on Zylok, who'd sent the first rock golem toward him without hesitation. Now, focus on invading your enemies, lad, Zylok called out. He remained back at a distance with his hands glowing purple. Eliath nodded sharply and began moving around quickly. He ducked right as the first rock creature made its strike. Sidestepping, he avoided the next swing with just as much ease. I wonder if I should try attacking too. Eliath knew he was still in the beginning stages of creating a body barrier, but he wanted to see how strong it was. As the golem came forward, Eliath dropped to his knees and rolled underneath the creature's legs. Then he threw his fists with all he had at the rock monster's backside. He expected to feel some sort of pressure on his hands. Instead, he watched as he made solid contact, but felt nothing. No pain, not even a scratch. Smiling to himself, he jumped backward and prepared for the next strike. You're doing good, lad, Zylok said, folding his arms and smiling. You're already adapting to your opponent's attacks and creating counter-strikes. It seems you've created a fine body barrier. Well done. As Eliath continued dodging and striking, he couldn't help but think positive thoughts. Perhaps I really will be as strong as the old man. This is just day one, and I'm already understanding how this all works. I'll just have to give it my all every day. And before I know it, I'll be a warrior. Eliath smiled as he prepared for the next attack. I can't wait to see what the next year brings. I was expecting it to say what the next day brings, but it's the next year. And it's also the end of the chapter. That was chapter 8. So, curiosity has caught my attention. It's wonderful that they are now able to train because, as we know, they're going to need it. However, we didn't get to learn about Sindral in that chapter. Ooh, hold on. Steady, book. Calm yourself. I don't want to lose my page. So it makes me wonder, did she do okay? Or is she not doing that well? Rhino, is it After Hours Broalition or the After Hours Broalition? I can never remember. I think it's just After Hours Broalition, right? Oops, I spelt it wrong. Do not click that link. There we go. That's better. After Hours Broalition. And of course, we have our wonderful friend, Newfiggle. Are you sure? Honestly, no, but I'm trying my best here, man, okay? Rhino, if you can still hear me, I need one of you to log in and use the After Hours channel as you talk, because I realize there's 3 of you using it, but if I can't tell, or if you never log into it yourself unless you're streaming, then, you know, nobody knows. You're just Rampage Rhino or Super SB or Zoriath, but I need one of you to use the account. Calm down. I will not calm down. Make me. Just kidding. Like, just chat with it? Yes, exactly. So, friends of mine, Here They Be Monsters, are a couple that stream. But they stream together. And they just use the Here There Be Monsters login. Usually it's always the same person. That way it doesn't get confusing. There you go. Like this, eh? Eh? Don't make me hop on your stream. What do you mean? You're already in my stream. What are you talking about? See, now you can click on After Hours Broalition and go follow them because the name's right there. And Newfiggle, you are absolutely welcome. Given the time, I don't think we'll have enough time to do another chapter. Partly my fault because I had some technical difficulties with my bots and stuff. Hopefully I can remember them all for next time. Hopefully. Yeah, Super helped me set this up right with Chrome. Good. Excellent. boy. So, what does everyone have planned for next week? Is it going to be a fast-paced week, or is it going to be kind of chill after the holiday? Is everyone trying to catch up? I, for one, have two newish. Well, one of them is new. The other one has started, but it's still in the early stages. Implementations from my work. So I'm going to be pedal to the metal on all of those. I'm off Monday, then I get to catch up. Okay. I'm glad you took Monday off. That's a smart idea. Kind of get a long weekend out of it. Last week before camping vacation. Ooh. Nice. Where are you going camping? How long? Are you a tent camper, or do you like a camper or a RV maybe? Do you glamp? I know that's a thing. Sunday barbecue night? Oh, Rexter, yes. I can smell it now. I detest implementations. I actually don't mind them. I mean, it's a big part of my job as a project manager. I'm the senior, and so I got to make sure everything's on point. It's a camping resort for kids in North Quebec. Fancy. I like the sound of that. Sounds like it's a very inclusive kind of, you don't have to go anywhere else. Everything's right here. I love those kinds of places. Those are my favorite types of vacations. I took a couple of those as a kid growing up, and having everything in one place, all your resources and the fun, it's great. So I was off Friday as well, drove to Baton Rouge, then to Houston, visiting family and friends. That's awesome. Good for you. That's a heck of a drive too. When are you going to come up to Iowa, Vincent? Just curious. No reason. I suppose someone's got to do it. Yes. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but over the years, I think I've gotten pretty good at it. That's why I'm the senior. And I like it. I like what I do. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certainly moments where I want to throw a chair in someone's direction, but I would say for the most part, it's great. And by chair, I mean like metal. One of those folding chairs that you can dent with someone's head. Not that I would ever do that. Come on. Let's not get overexcited here. Okay. Oh, this tea is delicious. I've never been to Iowa. Furthest I drove north was Illinois. Well, they're next door. I mean, granted, Illinois dips down a bit, so you could have been in the lower part of Illinois. But we are neighbors, technically. And I am on the east side of Iowa, so it wouldn't take me too long to get to Illinois. Like 2 hours, I think, to break over into Illinois. But either way. Actually, in not Illinois, but in October, early October, I will be first traveling to Phoenix, to the visit with a client there, traveling with a coworker, and then we'll be staying in the area, doing some traveling and visiting some places around. But then after that, we'll spend about a week there, and then we'll fly to Pennsylvania. There's a conference we're going to that is being hosted by Penn State. So we'll be hanging out there for a few days, and then I'll come home. So I'll be gone for about 10 days at that point. But oh, and our house, the build for our new house has finally begun, albeit a clumsy start, but it has started. There's stakes in the ground. There's that rolled up hay looking stuff to outline the property. There's flags in places to show what goes where and all that fun stuff. I think there's been a hiccup with the plans though, because they didn't do it right the first time. So we followed up on that, and we're going to follow up again on Monday, tomorrow, and double check. But the process has started, so that's something. Hopefully they'll be breaking ground and moving dirt around here any day now. So that's fun. What else? Oh, I mentioned this earlier, but I want to mention it again. Once we hit 750 follows, I'll be doing a milestone stream, if you will. I haven't done one of these before for something like that, but I figured, for a reading streamer, 750 is good. Like, I'm not complaining at all. So to help celebrate that, I'll do a marathon style stream. So we'll do our 2 hours like usual, but then follows, raids, bits, subs, all of that stuff will add to a timer, and it'll go until it goes, but capped at 8 hours. So we'll read, I'll play some games like Helldivers or Far Cry 5, maybe, if I haven't finished it by then. We'll do some community-based games as well, so, it'll be fun. So I'll announce when it's happening, but it'll likely be on a Sunday, one of my Sunday streams, and we'll just start earlier in the day. So keep an eye out for that. It will be exciting. It will be. It's a reflection of how awesome you are, bro. You are awesome. Thank you for the kind words. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to talk about. Oh, Thursday. So we finished reading Fourth Wing in Discord, right? What is today? The 7th? Yep. So this Thursday on the 11th, we will start Iron Flame. That'll be in Stunt Mama's Discord, like it always has been. We usually read a couple of chapters in there. So depending on your time zone and what you have going on Thursday, if you want more reading of something a little bit different, stick around for that. So I will re-announce that on our next stream, but definitely something to look forward to. I'm excited to get into the new book, or to the second book. It's not new. The first book had such a freaking plot twist at the end. It was insane. Blew my mind. But anyway, I'm rambling. Let's go find someone we can say hello to, shall we? Let's go find someone we can raid. There's a lot of people on right now. Oh boy, we got options. We got options. My goodness. You know what? Oh, gosh. I'll give you an option, because both of these people are part of the Hype Mind. They're good people. We can either see Path of Titans or Outlast Trials. What would you prefer? Path of Titans, Outlast Trials. Whoever speaks first will win. And that's who we shall raid. The second one, Outlast Trials. Excellent choice. She's a lovely human being. I'm actually kind of shocked she's playing this game, to be honest. But either way, it doesn't matter. Thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you for the subs and the gifted subs. You made me sweat, and you made my heart full. So, double win there. I can't wait to read to you again. We'll be back on Thursday. But until then, have a great night. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time.
Is it hot in here? Are you hot? I mean, you are